Welcome back to Fold in the Cheese. It's your boy K-Troll on the mic, and we've got Ethan back in studio. He is back. I am joined, as always, by the Harry Dunn to my Lloyd Christmas.
I've had it with this dump. We got no food. We got no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off.
Okay, just calm down.
What the hell are we doing here, Harry? We gotta get out of this town.
Yeah, and go where? Where are we gonna go?
I'll tell you where. Someplace warm. A place where the beer flows like wine. Where beautiful women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm talking about a little place called Aspen.
I don't know, Lloyd. The French are assholes.
Ethan, back in Michigan. I guess you were already in Michigan. Maybe. The Panic Room. I won't
Panic Room was a different part of Michigan. I really had to escape to get to this Panic Room. But yes, good to be back in studio. I was just mentioning, it's like, good to be back in the digs, man. It's just a sense of comfort. The panic is over. I feel better. I don't have to go to the bathroom like Harry all there. So I feel all right.
You're feeling good. Yeah. How was the trip, man? You've been gone for a hot minute.
Yeah. So we went to Disney for last week, and
we
were there from Saturday to Saturday. So we talked about that. That was great. And then once we got back, I was home for like 2 hours, and then went up with my brother and father-in-law, Kyle Seeger, friend of the program. And we went to go on a little hunting trip. So just got back yesterday night. Unfortunately, no one was successful this past trip. It was a rough one, some snow. We had one missed opportunity anyway.
The deer were successful. We'll say the deer won.
The deer won this time, but maybe for Thanksgiving, there might be a day where we can sneak out, but we'll see.
We'll see. Okay, sweet, man. Well, it's good to have you back. Good to have you back in the confines of your comfortable home there. Looking normal again. Got your Steve Young rocking that today. I'm rocking the Titans because Thursday night football, baby. Titans.
Night.
Let's go tonight. We're going to get to our picks a little bit later here. Got some updates on some injuries and some news around the league. We'll get the Pigskin Pick'em update from last week. Make our picks here. Then we got some trivia. We're going to do some Dumb and Dumber trivia today.
Oof. I'm nervous, but excited. So when I was in Disney, I was with my buddy Jonah, and this is probably one of our top 5 movies of all time. And we always go back and forth quoting it, but it's been a while since I've actually seen it. You always talk about movies, you always quote them, but then to actually not have seen it in a while, it's going to be tough. So I'm curious to see, 1, the trivia you come up with, and 2, I could be 0 for 5 or 5 for 5. So I don't think there's any in between.
Some of these are definitely going to be super easy for you, and some of them I think you'll be fine with. I really think you'll be fine with all of these. I did not go Rocky 1 on you with these. Okay. So I think you'll be fine.
I love that Fanachek
took a lot of heat from our friend Fanachek on completely botching Rocky 1.
I was just saying,
all over me on that.
He trolled you with the poster. He trolled he was like, dude, Rocky 1. Okay, but then he tried to call us out for De Bao Bao. I thought we talked about that it was in the movie. That's why it came up.
No, I think I specifically remember not tying the circle on that. He was right. I mentioned Ferris Bueller, and then I kind of segued to something else, and then got to De Bao Bao, which in my head was I thought of that because of Ferris Bueller.
I was going to say, that's the only reason why you and I would have been talking about that song. Bow, bow.
De Bao Bao.
That's iconic Ferris Bueller. I thought that was 1, a given, and 2, that's why we were talking about it. I guess we missed it. Fanachek would know. He is the detail guy. So
he's the detail guy, man. He would definitely know. And as a listener, he's also a consumer of the content. And you know how it is. When you're putting the content out, sometimes you just kind of black out. You don't know what you said. I don't know what I said 10 minutes ago. It's whatever. The listener is very keen. And we appreciate that about our listeners, honestly.
I just love when he was talking about just going down IMDb rabbit holes, because I do the exact same thing. Probably not to the extent he does, because again, that's his true passion and just finding all these different branches. But it's true. You can just get sucked in. And I don't remember what comedian it was, but I think it was probably Aziz Ansari. So did you know Joe Pesci was also in this? You just get sucked in. And
dude, I will tell you. So first off, he's grew up watching a bunch of TV and movies and stuff. He was really really in that. He worked in a movie store, which you often hear about people who know a ton about movies. They work in movie stores. They get to watch them kind of all day. They're reshelving them. They're stocking them. They're kind of in that space all the time. And then he was an actor. So he also has personal experience doing some of this stuff too. So he's just a wealth of knowledge in that space.
Yeah, no kidding.
His podcast is legit awesome. You got to check it out. I mean,
I do have to.
I know it is the IMDb rabbit hole. So to your point, I remember we used to do this in college. I was never a huge person into it, but I remember a bunch of the guys did it, and you'd be like, yes, I know exactly where you're going with this. Like, I've been that rabbit hole guy. I've been there. He does a really good job of weaving it all together. Kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah. IMDb is probably one of the greatest websites in the history of the internet, just because like, oh, who was that actor in X? And you just let me IMDb it. And then you're like, oh, there it is. Or like even like what episode, because I'll be watching some show. I'm like, oh, I know that guy. And then so you IMDb, it's like, that's why I know him. Like I'm watching Suits, as you all know. And we're pretty far into it. We are on season 6 or 7. And again, no spoilers for me, please. So don't get me say like, oh my gosh. So Lewis is currently involved with this woman who's pregnant with another man's kid, but he loves her anyway. And I was like, why do I know this woman? And I was like, what? Where have I seen her? And so IMDb'd it, went to the episode, clicked on it. I'm like, yep, this is her. She was freaking the cheerleader in Orange County. And I was like, yes, this is why I know her. And I could picture it exactly. Like, yep, that is her.
So you would think that your wife would love IMDb because she's always like, this is that guy with the thing in the hair, and like the shirt that he wears, that guy.
But the problem is, I'd say the name of the movie, like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's true. I do a pretty good job of that actually in person. I just have like a much more limited knowledge base,
Right.
But what I do know, I can pick it up. I'm like, oh, that's, he talks about her a lot. That's Jan Levinson from The Office or whatever. Like, just if you see them in other settings, sometimes it's really off guard. It catches you off guard because you're kind of like, or they're like playing like slightly different type of character, where they're like, you're an asshole in this show, but you're like the love interest in this show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's that guy, Well, so going back, a guy in Game of Thrones who was like, the queen's husband, on The Crown, and he's like this bad guy in the Game of Thrones. You're kind of like, who's kind of a jerk in The Crown as well, Philip. And so you're kind of like, I don't know if I like him anyway. So it kind of works in that case. But like, you're like, man, I know he's also got like a giant blonde wig on, So like, there's all these. You can pick up on certain features. You've seen them somewhere.
It's true. And it's also weird when you haven't seen that person in a long time. Like, honestly, I don't think looking at her IMDb profile, like she hasn't really done much since Orange County. So, but for me to see her in Suits, I'm like, I swear, like, why do I know her? Like, I didn't know her name and I couldn't pick, but I was like, I know her. And so I did. And then you talked about Game of Thrones. I think we talked about this before, but obviously King Joffrey was in Batman Begins. He was the kid on I think he was Commissioner Gordon's son, talking to him on like the fire escape in the first movie. So everyone's like, oh, it's this wholesome little kid. And then he's such a dick in Game of Thrones.
Such a dick. Yeah.
It's funny.
It is more fun to do the child actors when they grow up.
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh my God. Like you just, I don't know. You can project what they're going to look like when they get older, but
true.
When they turn out that way, it's just kind of wild.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess all that's to say, I don't have any idea why we went on that tangent, but thank you, Vanacek. Check out the podcast. Again, can't recommend it enough. I have a listener question I wanted to bring up today.
Ooh.
And I thought it's really good because going back to our roots about why we started this podcast, number one, because we're just two dickheads who want to talk about football all day, but also to help people through the mechanics of fantasy football, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of strategy. We mostly talk, I'm going to say strategy in air quotes because like, there are people that cover a lot more strategy than we do, but most of the stuff we talk about is going to be like, hey, this will help you determine if you want to start or sit a certain player, if you've got a good matchup, who to pick up off the waiver wire, or whatever. We heard the mechanic stuff that we either covered it earlier episodes or we haven't covered before. So I get a question. Hey, this guy's in our Yahoo league? Hey, when do they tell you when an injury, if the guy's going to play or not? When do you find out these questionable guys going into the games? When do you find out if they're going to play or not? Yeah. And then what do I do about a guy if he's questionable and he's playing on Monday Night Football?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's tough.
And so I thought this is a really good opportunity for us to share this advice with everybody. Because for me, I just kind of take it for granted. I've been doing it for so long, but for someone who's new-ish or has been playing a little bit and hasn't quite caught on to this, like the injury reports, the official injury reports for the games typically come out 90 minutes before kickoff. So for the noon, 1 o'clock Eastern games, you're going to see those at 11:30 every Sunday. The problem with that is it's
Monday night.
It's dependent on the game, right? So Monday night, the final injury report doesn't have to come out until an hour and a half before kickoff Monday night.
Yeah.
Which means if you've already played all the other players in your team, you can't sub in someone who's already played for a guy who's now injured on Monday night. True. So then he says, okay, what do I do about that? And he's got Kyler Murray going this Monday, for instance, and we're not sure if Kyler's going to play. I've heard the coaches say like it's up in the air who we're going to start. Colt McCoy's got a slight injury now too, apparently. Tweaked his knee in the game.
Where's Josh Rosen? Let's get him back.
Josh Rosen, yes. who's actually a stud college quarterback. But anyway,
I
I had
think he
heard
was a
from
disappointment.
I've heard from like beat reporters that they think Kyler's going to sit another week. So I'm kind of like, I don't think, based on that news, I don't think he's going to play tonight or Monday night, but he could. And the only way to hedge against him not playing is to have another player in that same game, basically. And this is true of wide receivers. It's a lot easier with wide receivers and running backs, but
Right, because there's more depth and all that. Quarterbacks are running a little thin, especially on Monday night, especially when you're playing the 49ers, where Jimmy Garoppolo is probably on a team.
maybe not. I don't know. It
Right.
depends on. We're in a 12-team league. He's on a team, but like I think in a normal 10-team league, he's probably not
available
rostered.
in that.
So that was my recommendation. Was my first thing was like, okay, first off, he had Dallas Goedert, he's been put on IR. That's one of the injuries we're going to get to here. He's on IR now. So I was like, drop him in your IR slot. It frees up one of your roster spots. Then you go pick up either Colt McCoy, who is the backup to the guy you have, or Jimmy Garoppolo if he's available.
Right.
Or pivot entirely and just say, I don't think he's going to play. Like sometimes you really do have to guess. Sometimes you have to guess, and sometimes you have to just play it safe. And like, you know what? I don't think he's going to play. If he does, oh well, I had to make a decision. Or if he does, he might be injured and he's not going to play that well anyway. Like whatever. But sometimes you do have to make a decision before the games kick off. But anyway, I thought it was a good question to ask in general about the mechanics of when the injury reports come out. Because he's like, I don't want to check my phone on Sunday. I'm like, well, sorry.
You're gonna have to do that.
I just say get the app. You know, like the Yahoo, we use Yahoo for this league, this particular league, but ESPN does it too. Get the app. They turn on notifications. They'll send you a notification based on like your players, has gone down from questionable to out. Right. And all of a sudden you get a big notification. I'm like, oh crap, I got to get back in my lineup and change that. So anyway, thought that was a valid question.
It is a valid question. I mean, it's just unfortunately it is. You're just kind of constantly checking. I mean, it's a good indicators when you're looking at throughout the week if they've been practicing or whatnot. Now, sometimes with your bigger name players, they'll probably just rest them regardless. So it is tough. But yeah, you kind of do gotta keep up to date with those. But yeah, for the Monday night and Thursday night, those do kind of screw you a little bit just because of those different timelines. I do see live update. Hazer has picked up Taylor Heineke and has started him and currently. So he's kind of just going safe, getting a guy he knows is going to play Sunday, which I think is probably the smart play just because,
49ers defense is good. And if it's not Kyler, you probably don't want Colt McCoy. I mean, that's a fair, it's a fair.
Because you don't want to be going into Monday night with a huge question mark, whether you even have a small lead or if you're behind a little bit and then just to get a big old goose egg. So I think it's a smart play to play Heineke. So well done, Hazer. You listened a little bit and you went out and did your thing.
Smart I think more than anything, more than strategy, he just doesn't want to have to check his phone Monday night. And he's gonna forget. He's gonna be like, I forgot to look, and then the game started and Kyler didn't play, and I had him in my starting lineup, and that happens too.
Sometimes going safe is the best way.
Sometimes it is.
It is.
The other thing I would say, this kind of ties into this from a recommendation standpoint, is you mentioned Thursday night football. When you have a player who's playing on Thursday night and you definitely want to start them that week, put them in their positional position, not a flex. Yeah. You want to keep the flex open to any position that you may need to use because injuries can crop up later in the week. You can change your mind later in the week. So if I have Derrick Henry and I've got two other good running backs, I'm going to make sure Derrick Henry is slotted in a running back slot, not the flex slot.
Because you were going to play him regardless, but and he's going to play on that Thursday night. But if you put him in that flex, if one of your running backs gets hurt, then you're screwed because you can't move Derrick Henry up once it's been locked in. So yes, that's a smart move. I made that mistake early in the season. I wasn't paying attention. Allen Robinson was playing on Thursday night. I had him in my flex because I think it was something with like a bye week. He had come out, and then I'll just put him back in at some point. And he was in my flex, but I wasn't paying attention that week to the Thursday night. So he got locked in. And then I had too many. I didn't have enough wide receivers. I'm like, crap. So I think I ended up winning that week regardless, but it was a error.
Brag.
It's one that should have
been. Should you bragging over there? Bragging about your
bragging over my 500 record, 5-5.
Bragging over a win. Hey, some of it's hard to come by for some of us. All right.
Yeah, it is.
All right, great. Let's dig into some news and injury updates, shall we?
Let's do that.
Cooper Kupp is the big name, right? He has been put officially on IR. He's having surgery. I think they're going to shut him down for the year. There's a chance he comes back after the 4-week window, somewhere in the 6-week range. It could be like playoffs for fantasy championships or something. But
if they're out of the playoff picture, there is no reason for him to come back. I mean, I know he's a very competitive guy. He might want to get back on the field, but from a logistical standpoint, there's no reason. And why does this always happen? Whenever you and I record a podcast, we finish it. Then like 20 minutes later, breaking news. Because literally we finished. I go back. I was just scrolling through my phone 20, 30 minutes later. Like, oh, Cooper Kupp on IR having surgery. Like, we were just talking about this thing. He may not. He may do it. And then bam. So
let's just dedicate 5 minutes at the end of every episode for us to just sit on our phones.
we're just going to sit.
And just
us
scroll.
on screen.
No sound.
Nope.
Yeah, no sound.
Just waiting for updates. So
yep. Okay, done. So I think he's probably no longer fantasy viable. I understand why someone will put him in their IR slot instead of dropping him, because if there's any chance he does come back for whatever reason, like you said, he is super competitive. I could see him being like, no, I'm gonna play if I can.
Right.
I don't care if we're 3-10. Like I'm gonna play. So I don't know. There's some hope there, but probably gonna have to make other plans. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on, like, we talked about the sum. I've been having second thoughts about it a little bit. I know you're hopeful, at least, that Allen Robinson fills in a lot of those targets.
Yeah,
really boosts his role. He becomes like a true number one. I'm starting to come around a little bit on like, maybe Ben Skoranek is like similar style player out of the slot. Like maybe that's viable.
I mean, he was relatively viable in the first half of the season with Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. I mean, he was kind of, honestly, he was probably the second option besides Tyler Higbee. I'm saying from the wide receiver perspective. I mean, he was getting touchdowns. He was getting looked to, where Allen Robinson was just kind of getting forgotten, kind of getting lost in there. So now that Allen Robinson moves over to wide receiver 1, once again, Skoranek is still there. And then you got Van Jefferson coming back. So his role, I feel like, is still going to be pretty well carved out. Again, the consistency is going to be tough just because when it was Cooper Kupp, Skoranek was kind of like a boom or bust touchdown, but he would still get maybe 3 or 4 receptions, which would help. But honestly, at this point, I think if you had to look to bench Skoranek, you might be in trouble. I'm kind of hopeful with Allen Robinson just because I need, as you raising your hand, I need him to. And I think this is actually going to help Allen Robinson, because once again, even if Stafford's not going, you still got Walford in there. And Walford. What was my whoa? So
Wolford, come on, he's our man.
Going back to when Cooper Rush was in for Dallas, you got to force feed your horses, and this is the time. You know what? This is why we went out and got Allen Robinson. He was supposed to be a great complement to Cooper Kupp. Hasn't really formed yet. Now let's just make him that guy and show why we did it. So I'm actually a little hopeful for Allen Robinson. I'm hoping that will kind of turn it around for him to say like, hey, we got no one else. It's coming to you. So get ready.
Now let's get number 1 and maybe even bracket coverage on a guy who can't get separation on the second corner. Let's see how that goes. That's what I hear, is like Allen Robinson's about to get shut down. I mean, I agree. The target should go up quite a bit, and that's a big hopeful for you.
Did you? I meant to send this to you when it came out. The Gridiron Heights, where it was the Super Bowl hangover for the Bengals and the Rams. Did you see that episode?
I've been watching a few of them because we share a YouTube account for when we post this stuff. I've been watching a bunch of them that pop up on the feed. But I didn't see that one.
Okay, it was a few weeks ago, but go back because it's great. It's a good episode. It is literally a parody on The Hangover, and it's with the Rams and the Bengals. So that's good. Check it out.
Always a good time.
Yeah.
Speaking of Stafford, he's apparently still in the concussion protocol. So first off, I got to give props to Fanachek here, because he busted that on me in the podcast, and I completely blew through it. I had no idea that he was actually concussed.
Right,
and he ended up missing the game, and I felt like such a boob. I had no clue. Vanacek comes here all prepared and stuff, and I'm like, he's got just a bruised ego. He's fine. He's got a bruised protocol. He's not going to play. That would have been relevant fantasy info for the listener.
Question mark?
So Stafford is still apparently in the protocol, and Sean McVay doesn't know if he has a concussion or not. That's the big news. Is he's not been told, I guess. But
the Amon-Ra chest injury or what? Or Christian Watson? Excuse me, Christian Watson.
Yeah, Christian Watson. I don't know. So we have to monitor that one too. I haven't seen the update since yesterday. Maybe the last 5 minutes of the show, we'll check out Stafford.
There we go.
See if he's going to go or not. But keep an eye on that one. John Wolford did not look good this week. He looked great last year when he came in. Did not look good this past week. So I'm a little bit less hopeful than I was before.
Right.
About him. So Zach Ertz is done for the season. This is big news too in Arizona. He's going to have knee surgery. He's done. Trey McBride steps in. He's a rookie. He won the Mackey Award last year, best tight end in the country. He's out of Colorado State. I don't know what to expect. I mean, I think talent's probably there, but I don't know if it's going to have the same type of a role. TBD. Probably worth a speculative ad if you need a tight end. I don't know if I'd play him this week necessarily, but he could go off. Who knows? It's tight end. Khalil Herbert was put on IR as well. He's done for the year. He had this hip injury.
Guess that's why they were kind of lowering his production.
Yeah, I mean, his
here.
touches have gone down like crazy, but this really escalated, this injury. Like, he went from like it's a hip injury, similar to Leonard Fournette, and you're like, oh, so he might be back next week. And he's like, no, he's done for the year.
I'm done.
All right. So that's really sad. That sucks to see. Zeke is getting in limited practice again this week. He did that last week and didn't play. It only matters because, like, you'd love to have clarity on, like, if Tony Pollard has the backfield to himself,
the guy,
you go all in, right?
Yeah.
And if Zeke's playing, honestly, you have to play him because he's a touchdown maker, you know?
I'll get those goal line snakes. So
Jamal Williams didn't practice illness. Usually when it's like a midweek illness kind of thing, these guys rebound and they're fine. It didn't say COVID or something like that. So probably a bug of some kind, flu, maybe a bunch of stuff going around. I'm hacking up a lung, certainly. So these guys usually recover pretty quickly and are back by game time. But keep an eye on that because DeAndre Swift getting like 5 carries a week.
Ridiculous. Still getting a touchdown, but the fact that his load is literally 6 carries is absurd. But
yeah, trying to manage his reps.
The 2-0.
Trying to hold and keep him fresh for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Hollywood Brown was activated from IR. This kind of bothered me because, like, Kingsbury's saying stuff like he'll be ready by December 15th at the latest, and you're like, why would you say that? Why is that the way you talk? Like, why do you? How about like at the earliest November 30th or something? You know, like, no, at the latest mid-December, and you're like,
he's tempering expectations, man. He's tempering.
He will be fine for some year in the future. You know, like,
he will. You will see him on the field again at some point.
Cool. So he's been activated, which means he could play this week. I don't know if he will. I don't know.
What's that going to do to Robbie Anderson's production? I mean, Robbie Anderson's dude has been lighting the world on fire. It's like 3 targets, 1 catch for -3 yards. I mean, watch out. I was
laughing. Field Yates on ESPN had a funny line about, like, is there like a 7-day money back guarantee window on that whole deal? It's like, can they send him back to Carolina for that pick?
For that 30th round pick, totally worth it.
Yeah, that was like a baseball draft pick. Woof, not great. So we talked about Kyler earlier. Could miss another week. Jeremy Fowler is the one who reported that. And then Eno Benjamin, your boy, you were hanging on to him. He gets claimed by the Texans, which I thought was hilarious because you're like,
help me.
What am I supposed to do with that? You have Dameon Pierce, so like I guess you have his handcuff, but like you can't.
It's basically if he went to the Texans, the Giants, the Bengals, or the Titans. It's like those are the 4 places like you just can't go. And then he went to one of them. Like, okay, great, thanks.
Great, thanks so much.
Well,
really,
goodbye. It was
goodbye. It's been real. Are you gonna hang on to him as a handcuff, or are you just gonna
no? Goodbye.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have like a Rex Burkhead. It's just there's no handcuff there. It's just they just pray Dameon Pierce stays healthy.
He's their only player for real. I actually have like a legit quandary here because like I have Brandon Cooks. This is why I raised my hand on Ben Skoranek. I was like,
that's right, because you put him in. First of all, we didn't even mention it's rivalry week.
It's our rivalry week. I actually forgot to mention on Tuesday, we had our official rivalry week last week in this Yahoo League because I played my brother. Week 10, I played my brother and I smoked him. I absolutely smoked him.
His team is no bueno.
Yeah.
His team is no bueno.
I beat about like
Josh. I didn't realize. I thought my rival was Aaron. I feel like I always play Aaron.
It used to be, but when Hazer jumped in, I had to switch him up.
That'll do it.
Yeah, so I figured Hazer and Aaron made more sense, and you and Josh are good.
Okay, that is good. And I beat him because AJ Brown threw up a donut. Basically, he was the best.
Boom. So anyway, why did I even mention that? I don't even know. See, here's
rivalry week for you and I.
Rivalry week for us. That's right. That's right. So I got Brandon Cooks in there, and I'm like, okay. Part of me is thinking I should drop him and pick up Nico Collins because he's maybe the better option, especially if there's like a disgruntled Brandon Cooks. Are they going to kind of phase him out, let him be mad on the sideline, or are they going to pepper him with targets? Is he going to like ball out so he can get a new contract somewhere? I don't know, man.
That's a tough call. I mean,
yeah.
Even if I
go Ben Skoranek and say screw it.
Even if I weren't playing you, it's still like I don't know what to tell you in that situation, just because you don't want to not play Brandon Cooks, pick up Nico, and then Cooks plays, goes off. You're like, this was stupid. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. And I can't afford to keep them both either. That's the other thing. It's like, I can't just drop. I'd have to drop Brandon Cooks, basically. And it's my problem I have on my bench. So there's a question for you, I guess.
Yeah.
So my team is not good, but I feel like my players are good, if that sounds kind of weird. But, like, I don't have anybody on my bench that I want to drop that I'm like, oh, I could definitely drop this guy because he's a nobody. They're all, like, playable guys, And so, and I've got like tight end has been in trouble for me. I actually dropped Kyle Pitts. I finally
saw that.
I dropped him. I'm playing Jawan Johnson for the Saints. I picked
him up in my neighborhood league because I had down scattered.
I'm legit going to play him. And I have David Njoku on my bench who I want to play, but I'm just not sure if he's going to be healthy. If I knew he was healthy, I would run with one tight end. I'd be good.
Right.
Because I don't, I have to keep him on the bench. So we only have 5 bench spots in this league. But my other guys are like Trevor Lawrence. I'm not going to drop him. I'm going to need him for a bye week anyway, and I don't want someone else to pick him up. Who else have I got down there?
You got
Kareem Hunt,
James Robinson,
James Robinson, who I'm saving for later in the season. He's got great matchups coming up, and I want to see how his role develops. Kareem Hunt is like, he's a plug and play. He's not good, and he's not helping me much. But again, if I need a running back 1 week, I'd like to have him available at least.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm having trouble figuring out who I would drop in these. I guess I would drop Kareem in that case.
I would say Kareem, or I mean, if you're really hell bent on keeping Njoku, just because Jawan Johnson is literally touchdown or bust. Yeah, you would have to. Kareem has not been good.
He's not been good, man. He's not getting the passing down work that we expect from him. He's getting the snaps. He's even getting the touches.
Yeah,
in most cases, but I'm used to him getting like 5 receptions a game, where it's like, that's money. And he scores like every other game, but he has not scored in a while.
True. I don't know what to tell you, man. You're in a tough spot there. But
Thanks.
honestly, I would probably just keep with Cooks, just because if he plays, he's the difference maker, and he's going to be the one. If he's actually going to play, they're going to give it to him. They're not just going to let him just run around out there. So
Dave also sucks this year, so I'm not sure that's even any good, which is why Brandon Cooks wants out of there, I think.
Yeah, he's like, we are terrible.
He's like, if this is the rebuild, count me out. Anyway,
all right.
I guess we'll see.
What do you say we jump into some Pigskin Pick'em?
Let's do it. Let's get an update from last week first.
Yes. So I was upset because, first of all, it was a down week for everybody because just ridiculous results. So Kyle and I, we mentioned this on Tuesday. I did the spoiler alert, but Kyle and I were tied going into Monday night. And so we knew one of us was going to have to win based on the tiebreaker because we both had the Eagles. We split on the tiebreaker going into the last 10 seconds. And then he gets that stupid garbage touchdown literally at the buzzer. So he won the tiebreak. But overall, you are still sitting in the lead with a 1-point lead over Leslie, Dirty Jalapeno, and with a 2-point lead over me and a 3-point lead over Kyle. So this is literally as close as it can get.
This is packed in, man.
It's pretty sweet. It's literally just been back and forth. I know you've been at the top spot for a little bit now, but it's been dwindling because you had like a 6-point lead, like 5 point, and now it's down to 1. So
I am really tanking right now.
Yeah.
I had to build that lead. I had to get that lead in the first place. I didn't start out on top.
No, I started out on top. Then I
You
went
did.
wild. I went off the rails.
This thing's I got a feeling this thing's gonna switch hands a few times before the season's over. So we'll see. I'm not gonna start my victory lap anytime soon here.
Oh no, not at all. So it's gonna be fun down the stretch. It's really literally anybody's game. So it'll be interesting.
All right, well, let's go ahead and make some picks then.
Oh, I'm gonna throw it to you first, since this is Yo Titans against the Packers in Green Bay. Green Bay with that big win over Dallas, man. You getting a little nervous or what?
I am getting a little nervous. I mean, we talked about this on Tuesday. Like, is this a turning point for their season? Like the Buccaneers had a couple weeks ago. Like,
right.
I don't know. They found something with Christian Watson. He scares me, honestly. Nobody else on that team really scares me, other than, of course, the quad father, who is not doing anything.
Right.
Aaron Jones is tough. We got a good run defense. I think Jeffrey Simmons is going to play this week. He's been questionable. He didn't play last week. Really needed him last week. We really need him this week because if he's playing, then our run defense is the best in the league. If that's the case, Green Bay's in trouble. I don't love that it's in Lambeau. That's the one thing that also bothers me. I wish this were a home game for the Titans. I got to go with the Titans, but this is kind of a pick 'em for me.
So there was a headline that says Titans rule out multiple starters against the Packers.
Yes.
So
not Jeffrey Simmons, though.
Not Jeffrey Simmons. He was not in there. It was, you can help me here. Ben Jones, the center. Is he a starter?
He's actually a stud.
Amani Hooker.
The safety. He's good.
Kicker, Randy Bullock.
Yeah, I don't care.
And outside linebacker, Bud Dupree.
Bud Dupree.
And
Bud Dupree's been in and out of the lineup all year. Amani Hooker, our secondary is not spectacular. And Amani Hooker is a good, sure tackler, but he's not like a great cover guy.
Yeah.
Kevin Byard's the one you need back there.
True. Maybe they'll sign Steven Gostkowski, man. I mean, you were playing golf with him, or he was in your backyard kicking the ball around with Matt Ryan.
We're playing golf over here. They already picked up somebody. I forget who it was. It's a retread.
Rodrigo Blankenship, or is he
no, Cody Parkey or somebody like that.
Cody, are we talking about Double Doink himself, Cody Parkey?
Yeah, somebody like that. I think they want a double doinker.
Nice. All right, so then over to me. Yeah, it's interesting that you say maybe this is a turnaround. I think honestly that was kind of an anomaly for the Packers because they kind of just hit on all cylinders in that game. I mean, it was a very emotionally charged game. Aaron Rodgers wanted to beat Mike McCarthy at home. So I'm going to go with the Titans just because they still got to show me something else. If they've been too inconsistent and gross for too long to just say, oh, one game fixes it all. So Tennessee has at least been consistent. They were hanging with the Chiefs. That was even with Malik Willis. Tannehill's back for his second game, so I'm going to go Titans.
Yeah, Tannehill's looking like more comfortable in the pocket now.
Yeah,
Titans are 6-7 in the last of their last 7, so 6-1 in their last 7.
I was going to say 6-7 is not great.
Of the last 7, and they hung with the Chiefs, like you said, with Malik Willis, so that was impressive. All right, we got the Bears traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Who you got?
I mean, shoot. Had the Falcons actually done what they were supposed to and beat the Panthers, this might have been a little more questionable for me. But the Bears, I mean, Justin Fields is on a roll. I know you're loving that fact. And I honestly think he's going to continue that. I mean, he hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. I think the fact that they've unleashed him on the run is good. Now David Montgomery is the lead back. I think he can kind of get more comfortable in that, knowing he's the guy. So I'm going to go Chicago. Atlanta's too weird in their wins and the losses. So I'm going Chicago.
Atlanta has found a way to win some games I don't think they should have. And you say that if they'd have won that game against Carolina, you might have felt differently. But the Bears should have won that game against the Lions too, and they didn't. So they're finding ways to lose. Atlanta's kind of finding ways to win. I got to go with Justin Fields as well because I think he's kind of finding his mojo there.
Yeah.
But I don't feel super confident about this one either. This is one of those games the Falcons could definitely win. And you'll be like whatever.
Pick what team you are. Are you one that's plucky and wins these games you shouldn't, or are you the shitty team that loses to the Panthers and gives up 500 yards to the running back you cut?
I wish they would just
lose one.
Just lose like you should. You shouldn't be winning at all, really. So I wish you would just lose like you're supposed to, and then we could see if Desmond Ritter's any good. That's all I care about. Anyway.
Fair. All right, so now we've probably got more of an easier pick, but maybe not. Buffalo hosting the Browns, 6-3 against 3-6, just getting ready for Deshaun Watson. They hope.
Buffalo licking some wounds a little bit after that Minnesota loss. I hope they don't come out on a hangover from that. Don't feel too sorry for yourselves. I got to go Bills on this one, probably pretty easy.
Playing at home, it's going to be electric just because the Mafia is not going to let them lose 2 in a row. So I'm going Buffalo.
Yep. All right, Eagles traveling to Indy to take on the Colts. Eagles licking their wounds as well. Matt Ryan and Jeff Saturday 1-0 together.
Woo! I mean, Matt Ryan. I saw some
Nick Foles revenge game. Come on,
huge revenge. So Matt Ryan had what, like a 39-yard run last week or something like that.
He looked like a young Tom Brady.
Well, they showed some crazy stats like Matt Ryan's 39-yard run is longer than a run than all of these players in the NFL. And there were some big names. I can't think of it right now. It's escaped me, but there were some big names. I'm like, how is Matt Ryan? It's like bigger than Leonard Fournette. Bigger than
Harris.
Yeah. So it was
Zeke.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
But no, I'm going to go with the Eagles here. The Colts are still, I mean, even though Matt Ryan kind of steadies the ship a little bit, they're still not great. And Jeff Saturday is going to still have some growing pains as a head coach. Maybe he'll get that full-time tag. You don't know. But Eagles are going to look for some revenge after their stinging loss to the Commanders. So they want to right that ship. Going Eagles.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, though. It sounds like you're thinking it's going to be an absolute massacre. I don't think
Colts,
so.
Colts are also that team that's just hanging in games where they shouldn't. You know, they beat the Chiefs. Like that. They beat the Chiefs. Like, what the hell?
Yep.
So
this would be a good one to take money line and take them as an upset pick because they have a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
If they're getting there, I mean, the thing we talked about Jeff Saturday was like, can he get the offensive line working in a way that works with the personnel that they have?
Right.
And you saw Jonathan Taylor break off some big runs, had a huge game. That's a fix in my book. I mean, that's a fix for me. So you're seeing a lot from Paris Campbell all of a sudden in the slot. I mean, I don't know. They'll be plucky.
All right, now we got my Patriots hosting the Jets. I mean, this is the world says it's basically a 50-50 split, and I did not think the Patriots beat. And again, the Jets are a weird team, and I'm sorry I'm talking already before you even get to make your pick, but the Jets are the weird team. Well, they'll go lose to the Patriots, but then they'll go beat the Bills. So it's like, what? Anyway, what you got?
I'm sticking with this pick going forward. Without Breece Hall, the Jets will not beat the Patriots. I think I've kind of said that. My opinion of this team changed when he got injured.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I think James Robinson's a nice player. He's not Breece Hall good.
You're right. He's not. And I've come around on the Patriots, especially when it comes to the Jets. Shame on me for picking against them last time. I just didn't think this was the Patriots team to beat them. But I'm going to go with the Patriots as well, just because Belichick can scheme, man, and as you mentioned, Breece Hall is a difference maker. He's not there. Zach Wilson's still trying to figure it out, and what better way to get lost than with Bill Belichick?
Yeah, I completely agree. It's exactly that. And I said this last year, and I felt like it was really appropriate. I'm starting to feel it again. I don't think the Patriots are good at
No,
all. I
they're
really
not.
don't think this is a good team.
They're a
This
very
is,
mediocre team.
once again, probably the best mediocre team out there because when they're mediocre talent wise, they've got an edge with their coaching and their schemes. So that's the only thing. And it's in
shout
Foxborough.
out to Matthew Judon, current NFL leader of sacks. So
Matthew Judon's a beast, man. I love that dude. He's a
He is
monster.
beast.
All right, we get the Rams traveling to New Orleans. We don't know if Stafford's going to be playing. We know Cooper Kupp's not going to be playing. It looks like Andy Dalton's going to get the start one more time. What's going to happen here?
Man, the Saints, I keep getting screwed over with the Saints. Whenever I don't pick them, they win. Whenever I do pick them, they lose. The Rams I've been a little more consistent on, but honestly, the Rams have just been so bad. And I know Dalton's not been great, and they still have those injuries, but I'm going with the Saints just because Walford has not looked good. I hope it's a high-scoring game because then that means actually no, because you have Kamara. So I hope it's a mediocre scored game with Allen Robinson getting a lot of touchdowns, but the Saints win. I'm going Saints at home just because the Rams are in such a free fall.
That's a really tough one for me, man, because the Saints are really looking terrible. I don't know what happened. They were like competitive, and then all of a sudden they just suck. I'm going to very hesitantly take the Saints at home as well.
Man, okay.
Without Cooper Kupp, I think this Rams team is a bunch of nobodies. I really do. That changes your entire team, really.
I wonder, we got to look in the history books. The last time two Super Bowl teams neither of them made the playoffs the following season. I know the Bengals are in the playoff hunt right now, but Rams are not looking that way. So it'd be interesting.
It's very common for one of them not to.
It's very common for the runner-up to not make the playoffs. That is very common. But for both, I don't know when the last time that happened.
Yeah.
I know the last time the Super Bowl champion did not make the playoffs, or one of the times was when the Patriots won in 2001. They did not make it in 2002. They were like 9-7. So anyway,
there you go.
There's one. All right. Now we got the 2-0 Lions against the 7-2 Giants.
2-0 Lions.
Watch out.
Ever since that video, you were right, man. Peyton Manning and Jeff Daniels, they reversed the curse.
That's me today. Jeff Daniels.
That's true. That's true. Harry Dunn. It was a bathtub full of bourbon, which I'm in on.
You're fine.
I was about to go sip that whole thing up. Yeah, I think this could be a really good game, actually. I think the Lions are better than their record. I think the Giants are not as good as their record.
Right.
I'm going to stick with the Giants on this one because they're doing something right and they're getting things together. And Saquon is a difference maker, and the Detroit backfield is not healthy. If DeAndre was healthy, I might lean Lions here, but they don't have a real difference maker in the backfield right now. I think Jamal's a really good player. Yeah. He's not Saquon. And Amon-Ra is a better receiver than anybody in New York has, but they're getting it done either way. At home, I'm going to go Giants. They actually have a good defense. The Lions do not.
Yeah, I don't know why it's 88-12% though. Honestly, I was going back and forth with this game just because of the Lions are plucky too.
Do it.
Except for the Patriots game. They've been really plucky. I mean, with the Bears game last week, they did get some help. Obviously, Jeff Okudah's
going wild. He's doing Irish jigs. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
They're finally saying he's not a bust anymore. So, I mean, he's got that going for him. So, I actually was a little hesitant with this game just because I had that thinking. I currently have it clicked as New York Giants, but I really want to unclick it.
Do it. I'll let you do it.
What? Let's go wild. I'm going to unclick it. Let's just go Lions.
Yes. I don't hate the pick, honestly. And I agree. It shouldn't be 88-12. That's people just picking based on records, obviously. But
right.
I think it could be a really good game, really.
I hope so. Again, even if they lose, I hope it's a good game just for the Lions' sake, because I hope they just don't have what they did against the Patriots and the second half against the Cowboys. Other than that, they've been in every game.
I got to say, I'm a little bit worried. I got my Adoree Jackson Titans jersey on today because, once again, as I've mentioned before, I bought the jersey and he got traded away immediately.
Yes.
But he's now one of the top corners for the Giants. He's playing his butt off, and I'm really worried. Do not shut down my man Amon-Ra. Please take it easy, Adoree. Take it easy.
Yes.
Kings Hawaiian $1 Million Showdown. Is that this game?
Is that this one?
Or is that this game? That might
I don't have it. It's only you who gets those ads. I don't have it.
Oh, man. Well, I do love King's Hawaiian bread.
They are good. Shout out. King's Hawaiian. Pool boys.
All right, we got the Panthers traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. PJ Walker is out for this game. Baker Mayfield is starting.
Is in difference maker. I think
I just said that randomly, not for any effect, just factually. That's true. Now, who do you pick?
I think I can finally pick the Ravens with confidence. this is finally the time I can. So Baltimore.
Yeah, they don't have
Coming off
anyone
their
to
bye.
right now, but
Coming
whatever.
off their bye, I think they're fine.
Yeah, who cares? Kenyon Drake has been nice for them. Gus Edwards might be coming back this week, which would be a nice boost for them as well from a depth perspective. Mark Andrews, I think, is still questionable. Haven't heard an update on him. Maybe we'll check him in the last 5 minutes here.
Yep.
Isaiah likely filled in pretty nicely for him while he was out. But yeah, I had no faith in Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now we got those Commanders knocking off those Eagles going to Houston. Can the Commanders get over 500?
I think they absolutely can. I think Nathan Favre, our man, is a baller. We've mentioned this. He's a gamer. Now, this would be a prime spot for him to throw 3 picks.
Yes.
And 2 pick sixes.
A huge letdown game.
A prime spot for him to do that because that's why he's not a starter in the NFL. But I'm riding high on that. I think they're emotional, man. They're Ron Rivera's getting all the love. I mean, they're feeling pretty special in the locker room right now, and that means something, especially with all the other drama they've got going on in the front office. So
what you're saying is there's a chance.
Hit me with it. Just give it to me straight. I came a long way just to see you, Mary. Just least you can do is level with me. What are my chances?
Not good.
You mean not good like 1 out of 100?
I'd say more like 1 out of 1 million.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
What
you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, I too am going to go with the Commanders, but you're right. This could be a classic. It's a trap, or it's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
They overlook the Texans. They might have their eyes starting to think about that playoff picture, and then they just think, "Oh, this is an easy one. It's a gimme. We just beat the Eagles, the best team in the league." So, I mean, I'm going Commanders, but it could, as you said, be a classic game where Heineke throws 30 interceptions in 1 half. So,
yep, very true.
Very true.
All right, Raiders and Broncos. Ugh, crap fest.
Who would have thought that at this point of the year, these teams would be a combined 5-13?
Well, this was before the season. This was far and away the best division in football.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be an incredible division. Devontae Adams is going to Vegas. Russell Wilson in Denver.
Wouldn't you say it's bottom half? Obviously, the worst is the NFC North. NFC North is the worst.
The Vikings have something to say about that. Come on.
AFC South is there.
AFC South is definitely there.
But shoot. Well, I was just also reading an article that for the first time in however many years, the AFC East could have all 4 teams. Like, it's not going to happen, but there's a possibility. They're all over 500. Anyway, going back to this game. I mean, the Raiders can at least put up points. The Broncos cannot. And it's just so crazy, man. I know Judy's hurting. So I'm going crazy here. Maybe this is going to be the Achilles heel. I'm going Raiders on the road.
I was going to go Broncos so easily in this game, even though I have no faith in them, but at least they have a really, really good defense. The only thing that gives me pause is the emotion that Derek Carr showed, which sounds crazy. He is not happy about the way that game went last week with the Colts. This is like gut check for them, and teams that get backed into that kind of a corner tend to come out and play their butts off,
Well, and I mean, they just had to come out or saying they backed Josh McDaniels, and so he's got to come out and say, "All right, now I got to back this up." So it's kind of like when they fired Gruden last year, that then they got emotionally charged and went on that run. So maybe I'm not saying they're going to the playoffs this year, but maybe this is a time where it's like, all right, let's just show them we're not a joke here. Like we can do this. So that's
I completely agree.
It's mainly me for the offensive numbers. I know the Broncos have a great D, but they have the ability. Josh Jacobs playing out of his mind. They still got Devontae Adams. I mean, Derek Carr shows he can do it, and now he's doing it.
Yeah, I'm really torn on this one. For all the reasons we just mentioned, I'm going to go Broncos at home.
That's fair.
I think ultimately defense will win, but this is not going to stun me if the Raiders come out and play out of their mind. It's gonna be like one of those games they get up like 14-0 in the first quarter and you're like, whoa, who is this team?
Then they classically lose it in the fourth, so it's fine.
Well, the Broncos can't score 14 points. So that would be the end of the game, but it could happen.
Yeah. All right. Now we got the Cowboys off that upset in Green Bay going to the Vikings, who are riding high. Kirk Cousins with all that ice on his neck.
That's right. Man, this is gonna be a great game. This is gonna be maybe the game of the week. I mean, this is a good one because these are two playoff teams. They're getting healthier at least. Trayvon Diggs versus Justin Jefferson is going to be epic. I mean, really excited to see that. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I think I'm going to go Vikings at home, but the Cowboys need to bounce back from that Green Bay loss. That was a bad loss, man.
That was a bad loss.
They need to
That
bounce
was
back, and the
coaching wrong.
Vikings could have a letdown after beating the Bills too. So, like,
True.
there's a couple like opposing forces that really could even this out. I'm going to stick with a hot hand on the Vikings for now, though.
I too am going with the Vikings basically because also now that the Eagles lost, the number 1 seed is up for grabs. And,
good
so
point.
that they might have their eyes on that as well, saying we have no chance for a letdown. We can't give ourselves too much of a pat on the back for beating the Bills the way we did. We still got bigger things on the horizon. And this is also a good test for them. People, one of the big things they're saying is, that all their wins have been by 1 score, or so, it's pretty ridiculous on just about all of them. And so they need to show that. And they're saying, oh, the schedule hasn't been that great other than the Bills. The teams haven't been that strong. So this is a chance to go up, as you said, against a playoff team and, kind of show who they are. So going Vikes.
Yeah, this would be a good one. At least it's not in prime time. We all know Kirk Cousins can't play in prime time.
He doesn't stay up that late. He's got to go to bed.
All right, Bengals heading to Pittsburgh, take on the Steelers. Intra-divisional rivalry here.
Yeah. How about the Bengals?
Getting shade thrown on them, man.
Bengals are 0-4 in their division right now. So they need a divisional win. They need this revenge game. I mean, they're coming off their bye week. Joe Mixon off his 5-touchdown day. I'm going Bengals.
Yeah, I've been pumping up the Steelers quite a bit on this podcast. I've been saying this is going to be a good second half team. They're going to come back and surprise some people. I think there are too many forces working against them in this game in particular.
Yeah.
You got bye week, revenge game, Bengals 0-4 and they're 0-3 in their division. That's too many things, I think, for the Bengals to not come and smash here. But if this were like first game of the season and these teams are playing the way they've been playing, I might have gone Steelers here at home. I'm still tempted, honestly. I really am. But after the Bengals just throttled the Panthers, I was like, oh, give them a little bit of credit. Yeah. Maybe they're making their playoff form, they're rounding the playoff form. I don't know. I'm going to go Bengals, but that's another one where I wouldn't be afraid to take a money line bet on that one and see if it pays out pretty well.
You love you some Kenny Pickett. Yes, you do. All right. Now we got the Chiefs heading to those banged up Chargers. Who you got?
Chiefs. Yeah, I'm just going to go Chiefs.
Same here. I mean, the Chargers have just been very disappointing. The Niners game would have been a good statement win, and I know they're still not at full health with no Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and even Herbert's getting a little banged up back there, but they just can't keep losing these games, and you're going up against a better team. This is a Chiefs team that throttled the 49ers. That's now coming into play, so I'm going Chiefs.
Yeah, I think Mike Williams might be back this week. That would be a nice boost. They need to get Williams and Keenan Allen back. Until they do that, I have trouble picking this team against anybody who's good. And the Chiefs have been looking so good recently. Yeah. So, yeah, I gotta go Chiefs here.
Okay.
All right, Monday Night Football. This game is in Mexico City, so this is gonna be kind of interesting. Really high altitude there. It's higher than Mile High even. So this is a good one. So you got San Francisco and the Cardinals. Not really a home game for Arizona. Like I said, it's in Mexico. So. What do you think's going to happen here, man? We're going to see Kyler. Is it going to be Colt McCoy?
I love that you're always commenting on the geographical factors. Oh, they can't go coast to coast. Like, oh, this one's a little temperature. Oh, this one's mile high. Watch out. I love it.
Altitude's an issue, man. You're going to see people with freaking oxygen masks on the sidelines.
Fun side story about altitudes. When I was with the manager with the Wake Forest basketball team, we were playing at New Mexico. That's when they had Danny Granger, who was awesome, and we were a really good team. But New Mexico, the University of, is also a mile high above sea level, and there's signs all over the arena just saying, you know what, be careful. It's easy to get winded. Just we're a mile high, obviously to get in your heads and all that. So we had a pregame shoot around, and Coach Prosser said, Ethan, I want you to go up to the concourse and just make sure no one's watching our practice. I'm like, okay, no problem. So the pit is literally a pit.
It's dug out in the ground, isn't it?
Yeah, it's dug out in the ground. It's literally just straight down.
Yeah.
So I had to climb up all the stands. I get halfway up those, and I thought I was going to die. I was just like...
He was just messing with you, by the way.
You said what?
He was just messing with you. There's no reason for you to go check the concourse.
I know, right?
Gotcha. I got you, fool.
I was literally dying halfway up, and by the time I got up to the top, I think I was lying on the floor, just crawling around the concourse. Luckily, no one was filming it, so we were...
Are they crawling like, is anybody up here?
Who's here? Anybody? Okay.
No one
So-
could possibly get up here. It's too high.
It does make a difference. You are correct. So it's just
Oh,
gonna...
well, how about that?
But I am also not a professional athlete by any means. Anyway, regardless,
make it work.
going to the game, I'm going Niners here just because they are locked and loaded. I mean, they are stacked right now, and they're all playing together. Debo and freaking Christian McCaffrey in the same field. Niners.
With George Kittle, who's like an elite tight end.
Who's
and I
coming
think
back
really
now.
solid, number 2. And Elijah Mitchell's healthy, and they're splitting carries now in the backfield, which sucks for a Christian McCaffrey owner. But like, those are 2 running backs that are top tier guys. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm going to go Niners as well, mostly because I don't know what Kyler's going to do. The Arizona defense has actually been solid recently.
It has.
So give them a little bit of credit. JJ Watt's back and healthy. Give them a little bit of credit there. But I got to go Niners, man. I think that's a better all around team.
Okay. Tiebreaker. How many points in this game? This is what
Okay.
screwed me. Damn you, Kyle.
Okay. This one is going to be
I don't need to score.
24-14, 38 points.
Ooh, originally I had 38 points. I changed it to 40.
Okay. All right.
I had 38. Damn it.
That's
Damn
really
it.
good. We'll see. We got to get Fanachek and figure out he's the points master.
Yeah.
You nailed it last time.
Dang.
Okay. So there we have it.
There we go. All right.
Boom.
Pigskin Pick'em in the books. I like it.
I think it's time for a little
Trivia for Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber trivia. You know, so there's a lot of movies that we talk about that I'm like, I haven't seen that in 20 years. It's kind of I know you make fun of me all the time because I watched a bunch of movies 20 years ago, apparently.
We did.
15, 20 years ago. But this one I rewatched like within the last year. I rewatched it.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to.
I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I don't know it nearly as well as you do. I can't quote this movie that much. And I know some of the major quotes, obviously, but I can't walk around and have a conversation with somebody. Like Anchorman, I could do the whole movie, but this
Right.
one, not me. So I did come up with some trivia for you. I think it'll be pretty easy.
Okay.
We'll see how you do.
Oh, man. I hope Jonah's not listening and I get him like 0 for 5.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. All right. Number 1. What is the name of the pet store that Lloyd wants to open?
Isn't it just worms or I think it's just worms.
You almost got it. It was I got worms.
I got worms. I said I got worms. Yeah,
You
that's
did say
close.
got worms.
Got
Yeah.
worms.
I got worms.
I got worms. I love they have the little tank in their apartment
Yeah. Yeah.
building
It's
up
like
their
ant farm,
stock.
but with worms. Okay. We'll give you a half point on that one.
Oh, come on. I said got worms.
It's I got worms.
So give
You
me
said
2/3.
worms. Then you
I
said maybe got worms.
I'll take 2/3.
3/4.
2/3.
3/4, fine. Okay. How much money was in the suitcase?
Oh God. 10 million?
$1 million.
Oh, I was gonna say 1 million. That was 92. That should have been much lower.
Uh-oh. We're having a little Rocky flashback here. What state does Lloyd originally think Aspen is in?
Does he think it's California?
He thinks it's California. Nice play. Nice play. There you
Never
go.
been to California.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like,
Thought the Rockies would be a lot rockier. That John Denver's full of shit.
Okay. They go to a we'll call it a soiree or a gala of sorts.
Yes.
Is a preservation benefit for what?
Spotted owls.
Or snow owls. We'll take
Snow
either
owl.
one of those. Yes.
Snow
Well done.
owls. And fun
Well.
fact, he kills one of them.
He does get one of them while he's there. That is a fun fact. Okay. I got a multiple choice for you, and if you need it.
Okay.
Last question. So we're saying you're about 3 3/4 out of 4, right? Nope. 2 3/4 out of 4. What did Lloyd say was the worst possible death someone could get on their way to the airport?
I need the multiple choice.
I'll give you multiple choice, and this will probably give it away for you. Flying off a cliff, flying over a bridge, getting trapped under a gas truck, or a head-on crash.
Jeez. Same again?
Flying off a cliff,
Flying off a cliff.
flying over a bridge,
Flying over a bridge.
getting trapped under a gas truck,
I mean, I'm just gonna go with gas truck. That just
or a
sounds
head-on crash. Yeah, I agree. I actually, this is one that was like when I was looking at trivia, it was like pop quiz, a user submitted question or whatever, and it lets you answer it. And I was like,
Yeah.
it's got to be the gas truck. It's a really specific death, and that is correct. Getting
Yeah.
trapped under a gas truck would be the worst
Yeah.
possible death.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. Not gonna lie.
That would be pretty bad, actually. But yeah, boom.
3
3.75 out of 5.
All right, I'll take it.
We'll round up to 4 stars on that one. Well done.
I thought you were going to ask me what was the name of the grooming business that Harry worked for.
Okay. Would you have
Old
known
Mutt
it?
Cutts. Old Mutt Cutts.
Mutt Cutts.
Love it.
That's right.
All right.
Well done. Well done, sir.
I knew it was 1 million. I don't know why I said 10. That was dumb.
That was dumb.
Because especially, I love all the IOUs. Like, those are as good as money. What are these? Those are IOUs. Those are as good as money.
Oh god, it's so funny. It was really funny rewatching because I hadn't seen it since the 90s.
Oh yeah, 20 years ago.
It wasn't one that I watched a lot of. Like a lot of people, it's a cult classic, and people have watched it over and over and over again.
Yep.
I'd only really seen it once or maybe twice. So rewatching it, I was like, yeah, this is hysterical.
Oh, yeah, I just love how Harry Dunn, Jeff Daniels goes from crapping himself on the toilet with the explosiveness, and then to hosting the newsroom. It's quite the range he has.
It's that range, man.
Yeah, range.
All right, well, that'll do it for trivia time.
Woo!
We owe the people an update on Run Your Pool, and last week was a good one for you. Certainly better than mine. You won 126 to 96. 96, woof. That was not good. Sub 100, not good.
That sounds like a standard Ethan score. What are you doing?
126, also not great, but pretty solid. Pretty solid. You had good performances from Stephon Diggs, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Especially later into the season where the player pool is getting so thin. It's like
it is thinning out quite a bit. That is very true. So let's give the people our lineup. You're down about 100 points on the year. That narrowed your lead by 30. So that was good. But still a long way to go. But like you said, getting pretty thin. In my lineup, and I don't know how yours is, but mine is not ideal.
There's like a couple names, but some are like, oof.
Yeah, I've still got a few stars left, but like, and I held off on. I still have Dalvin Cook waiting, but this isn't the week I wanted to use him against Dallas, so I'm hopefully he doesn't get injured.
McCaffrey, so I don't know when to use him.
Yeah, he's starting to lose his workload, so you might want to go ahead and dump that in there. All right, let's give the people what they want.
Who you want?
Quarterback.
You want to go first?
I'll give you my quarterback first. My quarterback is Dak Prescott this week against Minnesota in a hopeful shootout.
Well, I'm going with your boy, Justin Fields. Hopefully he keeps his streak going.
Ugh. I mean, you hadn't played him yet. I was hoping I would never have to face him. I was hoping you'd forget about him.
Hey, who's this guy?
Running back to go along with Dak Prescott, I'm going Tony Pollard this week. I'm hopeful that Zeke will sit one more week out to get fully healthy, both because I have Zeke in one league, unfortunately, and also because I need to use Tony Pollard in this thing, and I forgot to use him the week you used him.
I was thinking about using this guy last week, and I should have. Devin Singletary got a couple touchdowns, so hopefully he can keep that going.
Nice. I'm going with Brian Robinson on the Commanders on this one. Houston has a putrid run defense, and I think it's going to be the Brian Robinson and the Antonio Gibson show. I think they're both going to have big games.
Okay. I'm going with the guy I used last week, which was 2 weeks ago, Deontay Foreman. He's, again, another guy who's been running well and seems to be kind of the big spark there.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's a legit stud. Okay, for my first wide receiver, I am going in that Steelers game with Deontay Johnson. I'm hoping for a touchdown this week. Field Yates is calling a touchdown, I think, or maybe it was Andy Holloway on the Fantasy Footballers. One of them is calling a touchdown for Deontay Johnson.
Oh, wow.
This week. He's
calling
due.
it.
He's due. So I think last week, Deontay Johnson leads the league in targets without a touchdown. He has like 90 targets or something without a touchdown. And Chris Godwin was second in the league going into last week with like 80-something targets. So Godwin got
his touchdown
last week. So now it's Deontay's turn.
Okay. I'm going with the running back at the wide receiver position, Cordarrelle Patterson.
Oh, that's garbage. That is garbage. I forgot he's on the site as a wide receiver still.
Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe he'll get like 6 carries. Screw you. Okay, in the Thursday night showdown tonight, I'm going Christian Watson. I told you he scares me. I'm going with it, man.
All right. I'm going with Deontay's wingmate, George Pickens.
Yep. I love Pickens, man. I'm starting him in a couple of leagues, actually. And I think either one of them could have a good game, but I'm just hopeful that Deontay gets his touchdown. But yeah, I like Pickens rest of the season a lot.
Okay. You do love those Steelers.
Tight end, I'm going Tyler Higbee, the vacuum, sucking up all those targets vacated by Cooper Kupp.
I'll take the Niner himself, Kittle.
Nice. All right. Don't forget about the altitude, though. He's going to be winded. He's going to be gassed. At my flex, I'm going very hesitantly and very hopefully Cortland Sutton He's been actually really good this year. He just it's sort
Not
of like a
scoring.
maybe Jerry Jeudy doesn't play kind of thing.
Yeah,
And if he doesn't, I mean, Vegas is a bad defense, so
they do.
we'll see.
I forgot about. I put this guy here, my anti-boyfriend, but he had a huge game. Joe Mixon.
That's a tough pick this week, man. The Pittsburgh run defense looked good last week.
I know.
They got TJ Watt back.
It was more that idea of what you were saying early on in the season, play them before they get hurt. I'm like,
Yeah.
let's just get him in there.
That's what I'm worried about Dalvin. I still haven't played him, and I'm like, I've got to get him in a lineup soon. Just a matter of time. All right, I'm taking Brett Maher, the kicker for Dallas.
Give me Graham Gano.
Give you Graham Gano. Is he on the Giants, or is he's a Giant?
Giants.
Right? And then I'm taking Baltimore's defense against Baker Mayfield.
I was this close to doing that one, but I went with the Bills against the Leos.
That's pretty solid.
Not the Lions. Excuse me. Who are the Bills playing? I already forgot.
Who are the Bills playing?
They're playing. Oh yeah, the Browns. The Browns.
Oh, woof. Yeah.
So they have it.
Okay, so I've got Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, and Brian Robinson, Deontay Johnson and Christian Watson, Tyler Higbee at tight end, flexing Cortland Sutton, Brett Maher, and the Baltimore defense.
And I got Justin Fields, Devin Singletary, Deontay Foreman, Cordero Patterson, George Pickens, George Kittle, Joe Mixon, Graham Gano, and the Bills defense.
Yeah, you got a lot of running backs. You got 4 running backs on there. Snuck in an extra. Yeah, that's tough, man. Deontay Foreman scares me. Justin Fields, obviously, ridiculous.
There we have it.
Okay, man. Well, we'll see what happens here. We need to do it bet of the week.
We do need to do it better the week.
What game are we opposite on here? I got to find one.
We are opposite on the Lions.
Oh, you took the
and the Giants.
Yeah, we got Broncos and the Lions, Giants.
Yeah, so Broncos, Raiders, Lions, Giants.
Okay, what do you want?
Which game?
Yeah, we'll do a little draft.
Let's go with Raiders, Broncos, just because we don't have anybody on those teams.
Yeah, and we've done Lions on like a bunch of these. Yeah. Jared Goff is in the do it bet almost every week. And he's on the weekly do it bet.
And he's on the weekly do it bet.
He finds his way into the weekly do it bet and the season long every time. Okay, so let's do a little draft. Get up your wheel of names.
All right, let me get that wheel of names.
Did you see I used the wheel of names when I had Fanachek on?
I did. I loved it. So
I should have been more gentlemanly and just let him have the first pick, but
no,
I'm a jerk.
You are a jerk, and that's how it should be. So what are we doing? Like 4 players again?
Same 4 players.
Okay. Let me get our names in here instead of Allie and Beatrice. I wonder if it's always the same names.
All right. I have Beatrice too whenever I pull it up.
I am blue. You are red. Boom.
Spin that wheel. Ethan. Got it.
All right. I'm going to go with Derek Carr.
Okay. Well.
Oh, I know who you're going to go with. Son of a bee.
I have to take Russell Wilson because I can't let you have 2 quarterbacks.
Ooh, good. Sweet.
I'm going to go with Devontae Adams.
I thought you were going to go. So I'm going to take Josh Jacobs. I thought you were going to take both of those guys.
Jacobs and Adams. Yeah, I would take Jacobs, but I'm afraid Denver's defense. I don't want to load up against them.
That's fair.
So I'll take Russ and Devontae Adams. You've got Carr and Jacobs.
Yes.
Solid.
All right. So I think Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs are going to have more fantasy points than Devontae Adams and Russell Wilson. Do it.
I think Russell Wilson and Devontae Adams have more fantasy points. Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
You got to say the do it. You got to say the do it.
You know, I caught a little bit of flack. Fanachek was he heard us mentioning that, and he said, "Listen, man, that's kind of your thing, man. I didn't want to jump in on that." And I was like, "You just didn't want to sound stupid." There's a bunch of idiots on here, like you don't want to sound. I get it.
If you're a guest host, you have all the resources available to you. Everything's up for grabs. So
that's true. You're able to move into our houses, like take on our lives, our children, all that.
Very disappointed.
Live our life for a while, yeah. Guest host.
Yeah. So there we go,
man.
Whew. All right. So that was a lot going on. A lot of week 11 preview. You and I had 2 different games, so we'll see how that works out. I already just got a text from Kyle saying who is winning. He's saying I was telling him this week that I was beating him, but he didn't believe it, so he wants you to fact check, Kemper.
Of course. Yeah. How do you not know this?
Because he doesn't. Because this guy who doesn't set tiebreaker except for last week. There's one time he does, and it screwed me. So anyway, that was week 11 preview. Pump for the games tonight. Your Titans in action. We'll see what happens there. So until next time, keep on folding.
Hold it.